Tiger fans, what's going on, guys? So, I apologize about the late upload this past week. So, my dumbass found out that my phone can upload in 4K or 60 FPS because, as if people needed to see my chubby ass face any clearer than 1080p, I was like, hey, sure, let's try this out. So, I filmed last video in really high resolution. So, when I went to upload, having the crappy internet that I have, and on top of the quality of the video that I did with the recording, it made that video take, I think I tried for almost 3 days. It didn't go up till Wednesday. So like when the video came out and people were watching, it probably didn't make sense because the Boston series had already started and I was kind of previewing the Boston series. So this video is going to be back to lower resolution as normal. That way this thing actually goes out on time. So nothing really spectacular happened this week. Jonathan Scope inked a 2-year extension, which it's kind of mind-blowing because he's a Scott Boras client. And Scott Boras guys never sign in the middle of the season. Like, it's extremely rare. But Scope came out and he's like, hey, I like playing in Detroit. I like this team. I like to play here. And you could tell, like, he's a leader in the clubhouse. You could tell he's a guy that all the younger dudes look up to. If you go on his Instagram, I mean, every one of these young guys follow him. Whether it's Akil Baddoo, whether it's Derek Hill, Riley Green follows him, like all these guys. And I mean, Riley Green's not even on the team yet. So it's, Zach Short follows him, another one. So it's really cool to see him stick around. I know I came out and I said I didn't want the Tigers to sign him long term, but it's only 2 years at $15 million. So it's $7.5 million a year. So you really literally can't go wrong with it. And it has an opt-out after 2022. So literally, if he has another year next year, like he had this year, he's going to come in next year and say if the Tigers suck, which I don't think so. I think, what we're seeing this year, almost a second-place team. The Tigers, I don't think they can overtake Chicago next year because of how good Chicago is, but it would take, they would have to sign someone big. Get, one of the big free agent shortstops and maybe sign back Justin Verlander and hope Verlander comes back. But, say they suck next year, they could always trade him. And say he has a good year next year, even better than he does this year, which would be fantastic. He has an opt-out after 2022, and the Tigers are only paying him $7.5 million. So they basically signed him to a 1-year, $7.5 million extension with an option for a second if he chooses to take it. So it really no harm, no foul. I was mainly scared of if they were going to sign him for something like 4 or 5 years at $18 million AAV for someone of his age, which, I mean, he's not old, but, he's right there. So no harm, no foul. So that was really about the biggest news this week in Tigerland. It was kind of a boring week for news. Nico Goodrum is about to be back on the team. He's really not going to do much to help them win. The only thing that I'm happy about him being back until he inevitably gets hurt again, which he's inevitably going to get hurt again because that's all he's been the last 2 years. The nice thing about him being back is I really like Zach Short at shortstop. I love his podcast. I've said this a million times, but he just can't hit. He's not an everyday guy. I mean, he reminds me a lot of Adam Everett with a little more pop. Adam Everett played for the Tigers in I want to say 09 or 10. He played for the Tigers for a couple of years after he was the Astros shortstop for a long time. And Adam Everett was a lot like Zach Short with less strikeouts. He was really pesky hitter. Didn't have much pop. He was only going to hit you a couple of home runs a year, but he had a really good glove, and he made a lot of the routine plays. With Zach Short, with how bad his bat has been, and now he makes a lot of dumb errors. And particularly throwing errors has been his thing. So, he's had a lot of bad throws to Willie Castro at second with a guy who's learning how to play second, and he's another one the Tigers need to do something about him because clearly second base isn't a spot, and I think it's starting to affect him at the plate, which is showing in such a low offensive output because when he was playing short, he had a little bit more of a stick, and now I think he's just so much in his brain about playing second that it's affecting him overall as a player. But with Zach Short, you'll see him make some plays like he made the other day where we were in Cleveland, he went way to his right on the third base side of short and almost made a great play to throw out a fast runner. I forget the runner who was for Cleveland, but he was a fast guy, and he almost got him on like a Jose Iglesias type play. Just beautiful pick, ranged really far to his right, super strong throw on the run, and he almost nabbed him. But then you'll see like today where he made a critical error at short on the throw that he should have made, and he had time, and it really hurt Willie Peralta today. You know, Willie Peralta, his line today doesn't look great to close out the series, but he pitched a really good game. And with him, you know, he's not the biggest strikeout pitcher in the world. He does pitch to a lot of contact. He's a sinker ball split guy. He needs his defense behind him. And like Willie Castro today, the Tigers made 3 errors. Willie Castro was out in right field in the shift, and Jose Ramirez hit a ball. He fielded it, and he slipped as he went to throw. The Tigers defense, you see flashes of how good the defense could potentially be, because Jamer is as consistent as it gets at third. You know, his stick hasn't. I think we could all agree that we'd like to have seen a little more offense out of Jamer this year, but I think his overall consistency of just being in like right around the same. You know, his extra base power has been okay. I thought we would have seen a couple more home runs, but I think as an overall everyday player from April to the start of now, you know, we've seen a pretty decently consistent Jamer, but the glove has just been extremely consistent at third. He plays a very good third, and you could put him at first, but he plays a good third, and then short has been a revolving door, and now we have Zach Short there, and he's got a great glove, but like I said, he makes a lot of bonehead throwing plays. It was kind of like Eugenio Suarez when Eugenio got called up from the Tigers, and he was in Jose Iglesias' footsteps, you know, being overshadowed because Iglesias is such a magician kind of guy. You know, he's always trying to make the spectacular ESPN top 10 play instead of just making, you know, the play that they need to make to get the out. And Zach Short, he isn't a flashy guy, and he's got good fundamentals. He's got a good glove, and he's got a good arm, but it's like he gets too much in his head and he rushes. And then, you know, second, they would have Scope there, who's a good enough second baseman, but, you know, they got to have him at first because Miggy needs a blow. And then, you know, you've got a revolving door at second there. They really need this offseason to really shore up the middle of the diamond, because they have the makings of a good defensive team, because they have some good defensive players. And this is my point of Nico Goodrum to kind of swing this all back around to where we started. Nico is, like I said, I don't think he's that good with the stick, but at least when Zach Short is struggling, which has been a lot, and they like I said in my last video, they need to give him a break, and it's going to allow them to not have to play him every single day at short and not give him every single day at bats, because you have an Adam Everett type stick with good defense, but he still doesn't make the routine play consistent enough. He has bonehead errors. I think, you know, with how bad he's been hitting at the plate, I think the game is kind of is sped up on him. And you're seeing the results you're seeing right now. You'll see the flashy play that you're like, wow, what a great glove, what a good arm. But then you'll see the bonehead play, you're like, and then you see him up at the plate, and every single count is 0-2 right away. He has had a couple of walks since, you know, that one really bad streak, so that's good. You know, he's seeing the ball somewhat well, but he's got no pop with the stick. Just can't drive it. And you know, there's power in the bat. I think he's got 4 home runs already, 5 home runs already. You know, he had a grand slam in Minnesota. So at least Nico back, you can put him in various spots. He can play short. He can play second. It allows Zach Short to, 1, not get everyday at-bats anymore, to give him a break. 2, put Nico out there and allow Short to not have to see pitchers like... Allow him to put him in better spots to succeed, is my point. And allow him, when he's skidding like he's skidding, to at least get a break and at least try to get the stick going. Because with the glove, you need the glove out there, especially with how inconsistent the middle infield defense has been. But with the stick, it's killing you. It really is killing you. So he's coming back. So let's get into what happened this week. This is kind of a clusterfuck start to a video, and I apologize. But when I get going on these rambles, it makes sense in my head, but sometimes it doesn't make sense coming out. Anyways, so this past week they played the Red Sox and the Indians, or the Cleveland Guardians, as the fucking idiots. They make a name that's I think it's like a roller derby team, and then the roller derby team is like, you either gonna pay us for the rights to the name, or you're not gonna have the name of the Cleveland Guardians. So they might not even be the Guardians. What a clusterfuck that is. I was actually wanted to go up to Cleveland this past weekend because it's 3 hours from my house here in Dayton, but I didn't. It was really expensive for tickets. Anyways, so they played the Red Sox for 3, and I did not think that the Tigers were going to take this series. The Red Sox had come into Comerica skidding. They were on a losing streak. First game of the series, Miggy hits .498. He's only 2 home runs away. And a lot of people are on Miggy watch. They're like, oh, when do you think he's going to hit 500 home runs? I don't think it's anytime soon. You know, Miggy has had a bunch. He's had a few multi-home run games. He had a multi-home run game in Kansas City. He had a multi-home run game at home. So he's had a couple of games where he's hit him in bunches, but his power's been kind of sparse. But if you look at his overall numbers, like over the last 2 months, Miggy's like hitting like 280 or 290. So he's been putting the ball in play a lot more, and he's been drawing a lot of walks, and he hasn't been striking out as much. But the power is only sometimes there. So I don't think he's going to get the 500 as quick as people think. I think it's going to be closer to the end of the month, start of September, when he finally hits that 500th home run. But nonetheless, Miggy hit 498, and the Tigers beat Boston 4-2 that game. And then game 2 of that series, Casey Mize started. And Casey Mize was pitching a gem until the 5th inning, and then the long ball came up and bit him, which I think is the second or third time this year that Casey's pitched, and then he's had problems with the gopher ball in the second, third time around in the lineup. But he's been pitching so good this year, and that's just growing pains, you know, just trying to figure out how to maneuver a lineup, you know, 2 or 3 times. But he's gone deep into so many games when allowed, when they're not watching his innings. And his stuff has just been phenomenal. I can't sing his praises anymore if I tried, but it happens. And then Skubal, who's really been struggling with the long ball this year, the Tigers come out. I did not get to watch this game, but the Tigers came out as a day game and won that series with an 8-1 win. Skubal comes out, pitches 5 scoreless innings, and boy, did that kid need that, because Skubal's been getting hit up a little bit his last couple starts. He's been giving up a lot of home runs. And for him to be able to keep the ball in the yard against a team that could bang it, you know, with Devers, Bogarts, Verdugo, Kike Hernandez, popped one off of Mize. I mean, they got some guys that can knock him out of there. And for him to pitch as well as he did, and the Tigers take that at home, awesome. Then the Tigers this year, they have one of the better records in the entire American League against teams with 500 above records. So it's not like someone was trying to make an argument against A.J. Hinch and what they've been doing. Like, the Tigers have been beating up against a lot of bad teams, but the Tigers have one of the better records in the American League against teams that are 500 or better. So they've been winning a lot of games and a lot of series against teams that are winning. It's not just them beating up on the Royals, you know, or the Twins. In fact, the Twins fucking swept them at 4-game set. So I don't know where they get that logic from. But the Tigers, they've just been playing really good ball, which just makes this series so. Then they came into Cleveland for 3. And I think if the Tigers would have swept this series, they might have been tied for second place, because in win percentage and in games, the Tigers and Indians, the Tigers have just as many wins as the Indians do, but the Indians don't have as many games played as the Tigers do. And I think that's because they had a little COVID thing at the start of the year, so they haven't played as many games yet. But in winning percentage, they're like, I think the Tigers coming to this game, they were like 474, and then the Indians were at like 490. So if they would have swept the series, they'd either been in second place or tied. So game 1 of this series, Cal Quantrill pitched the first game of the series, and wow, did he pitch an outstanding game. The Tigers stood no chance in hell with how that kid was pitching. And I didn't know this, that Cal Quantrill actually was he was a top 10 pick in the 2016 draft, and he faced Matt Manning. And Matt Manning this game got rocked. He gave up 10 hits, I think, in 5 innings pitched. The 4th inning, what was it? They got 3 in the 4th and 4 in the 3rd and 2 in the 4th. And Manning did not look good. And I've been saying this, guys. You watch my videos every single week. I keep saying the same thing. Matt Manning has given up too much contact. He's not striking out enough guys. He's getting closer. I think for the first time ever in his career, he struck out back-to-back hitters in a game, which I think was in the second inning of the ball game. He struck out back-to-back hitters, and my jaw was like, wow, okay, because his fastball's good and his sliders, and he had a decent slider, and his curveball was okay, but man, that third inning came around, that fourth inning came around, he got fucking rocked. 10 hits in 4 innings or 5 innings, however long he went. Let's see, I got the box score in front of me. He went 4 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, to have 3 strikeouts, to have a 6.33 ERA on the season. This is my point, guys. This is what I keep saying. But we're at the point in the season now where September is not that far off. You might as well just keep him up in the big leagues. There's no point in sending him down to Toledo. He has had some success. He has pitched a few good games in the big leagues. So you might as well keep him up, let him try to figure it out as he goes, and hope for next year's a little bit of a better result. But, man, we need him to start striking out a few more batters. We need to see that strikeout rate close to what it was in the minor leagues, because these are the kind of games that you could see. Now, some of the contact he got against him was some weak-ass contact. There were some swinging bunt hits. But at the same time, Franmil Reyes, man, about put a ball through the left field wall. So we need to see Matt Manning start missing some more bats, or I don't foresee this being the last start like this for him this year. So, because he's not Justin Masterson. He can strike guys out. And I don't know how many times I have to reiterate this to people that, that keep trying to say he's pitching good. He's had some good starts, but we need to see some more strikeouts out of him and miss more bats, because these guys are you can't win with that low of a strikeout rate in this modern day of baseball. So then game 2, they win 2-1. An absolutely beautiful game pitched by Tyler Alexander. Got into the 6th as someone who is not a starter. 4 strikeouts, easy outs, just moving the ball in and out. Outstanding command with the cutter and the fastball. Everything looked good. It was a really, really well-pitched game by Tyler Alexander. Michael Former came out. Basically, the back end of the bullpen came out and did their thing. It was a really good game pitched by the Tigers overall. And then we get into today's game. Tigers lose, and I was really disappointed that the Tigers lost this game, because Derek Hill hits his first Major League home run of his career today. And the Tigers were up, 5-2. And they ended up, Willie Peralta, just like I said, he got fucked by his defense today. Just Zach Short with an error, Willie Castro with an error, and there was only so much he could do. And they ended up tying the game 5-5, and then Erasmo Ramirez is on the mound against, I think, Zimmer. And Zimmer goes and hits a 2-run shot. It's 7-5, and the Tigers' last 6 outs between Karinchak and Brian Shaw. I don't know who made it look easier against the Tigers in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. It was basically cake work. It was a game that you felt like after Hill hit that 3-run shot to put the Tigers up, you felt like with how good the Tigers bullpen had pitched the night prior, you felt like it was going to be, okay, let's try to tack on a couple more runs, try to get a 7-3 dub, and get out of there 2-3, leave Cleveland with a good taste in your mouth. I don't have math on the top of my head, but either be tied for second place or like a game behind second place. And you did your job. You took the series from the Red Sox. You take the series from the Indians. You're really close to jumping them. But no, they lose 2-3, and I don't know. Today just feels like a game, if they would have played better defense, that they would have won that game with how good their pitching has been over their bullpen pitching has been the last week or so. So that kind of sucks. But the Tigers are finishing up their little mini road trip, 5-game road trip here. They go to Baltimore for the next 3 days. I don't have the probables here. So they got Casey Mize pitches against Keegan Aiken. The Tigers, I don't believe, faced him last time they were in town to start the series. And then I think they faced Matt Harvey one of these games this series. Yeah, Matt Harvey is going up against Tarek Skubal. This would be a good game for Tarek Skubal. And Matt Harvey, he's been pitching pretty well as of late. It's been kind of weird. He had a really good start against the Tigers last time they played. That was one of the games that the Tigers started scoring runs late. that was like the theme of the last Baltimore series. They kept scoring runs late, but couldn't get enough hits together to start a rally, and they had tying runs on. And then Matt Manning goes up against John Means to end the series. So that's basically the next three probables for the upcoming series. The Orioles right now sit at 38-72, Tigers at 54-60. So it'd be great if they could sweep them. But even if they could take two, leave at what, 56-61 to set up a 3-game homestand with the Indians, and take second place. Hopefully the Indians, let's see who they play the next couple of games. I don't have their schedule up here. It doesn't matter. Anyways, hopefully the Indians, when they go out, they'll lose a couple of games in the Tigers. Hopefully the Indians lose their next 2 or 3 and then get a chance to face Tigers. So the Indians go play the Cincinnati Reds for 1, so they're going to have a makeup game. And then they play Oakland for 3. So if the Indians can lose 3 or 4 before they play the Tigers, and the Tigers can take the next 2 or 3, that would set them up for them to jump Cleveland in the next upcoming series, which would be fantastic because I want them in second place so bad. They played so good. This team has been very fun to watch. It's a very fun team to watch, even being under 500. But they've been so good, and it feels like a lot of their losses are losses they shoot themselves in the foot. It's not games that they can't win. It's like mental mistakes and defensive mistakes, or just can't get a big hit. But they've been so good, and the Indians are really not that good of a team, and their offense is kind of shit. If it wasn't for their pitching, they'd be even way worse than the Tigers. But let's hope the Indians can lose 3 or 4. Tigers take 2 or 3 against the Orioles, and then they come into Detroit, and we take 2 or 3, or sweep them. We'd be even better, get even closer to 500, jump them for second place. That'd be fantastic. So that's what I'm hoping for. Like I said, guys, not much in Tigers news this week. It really is what it is. Nico's coming back. Like I said, I'm happy he's back. I don't think he's really going to help you that much with the stick. He's probably going to get hurt again, but at least you give Zach Short an opportunity to take some breaks and not give him every day of bees when he's struggling like he's struggling, because I love Zach Short. I really do. You guys need to go listen to his podcast. It's fantastic. Anything John Boy Media does is fantastic. But the kid needs a break. He's too in his mind. His at-bats are not good, and I don't think he's put a ball out of the infield since batting practice like 6 weeks ago. He needs a break. And you could have Nico at second too, because they got to do something about that too, because Willie Castro's has been not good at second base. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully this video uploads smoothly. Got any questions about the team, your thoughts on the team right now, anything you want to know, anything that you want to contribute to what's going on? Let's talk in the comments. I love when you guys comment on my videos. Have a good one, guys.